Hey guys, I have missed you guys and I'm so excited to be back, and hopefully you have this worksheet in front of you. And today I'm going to talk to you about what a monomial is, how to add, subtract, and multiply monomials. And so you will go along with me working this worksheet out. And of course, when I say to pause, hopefully we will pause this video and you will try some problems and then unpause it to check your work. All right, so what is a monomial? A monomial is a number, a variable, or the product of a number and variables. And we should remember that product means to multiply. Whoops, that doesn't look like the word multiplying at all. There we go. So if you have a number, a variable, or the product of number and variables, then you have what is called a monomial. Monomials are not, they don't contain plus signs or minus signs. Okay, they can be negative numbers, but you can't have a plus sign or the minus sign between numbers and variables, because then it turns into like a binomial or a trinomial. Mono means one, so we have one term. So some examples of monomials would be like 4x squared. Okay, it's got one term, it's the product of a number and a letter x here, and so I don't have any plus signs or minus signs, so that is a monomial, that is one term. Again, I could have negative 4xy. Again, we have the product of the number negative 4 with x times y, and no plus signs, no minus signs, it is one term, and I could do this all day long, and I don't know why I keep picking 4. Let me pick something different. Like 10m, just the number 8, that would be considered a monomial. It's called a constant, it's one term. You could have just the letter x squared. All of these are examples of monomials. All right, so we're going to talk about how to add and subtract monomials. To add or subtract monomials, you're going to simply combine like terms. We have worked on this before. And so we know how to find things that have the same letter and the same exponents. You can combine those terms by adding or subtracting. And of course, you have to remember your adding and subtracting rules. If your signs are the same, you're going to add the numbers. If your signs are different, you're going to subtract the numbers. All right, so if you take a look at the first one here, it says that variables and exponents must be the same in order to add or subtract. If you can't combine anything, you're going to leave it. So number one, you want to look at both of those terms, and they are monomials, so we're going to be subtracting these two monomials. So we have 17x minus 25x. And so what we have to do here is we need to subtract because the signs are different. And so if you have a handy-dandy calculator nearby, you can use that. Some of you guys already know what 17 take away 25 is, and that's negative 8. Keep the variable. We're not going to add any exponents, and we're not going to lose any variables. So this is combined to give me a negative 8x. All right, number 2. If you notice, they both contain a y squared. So again, I'm going to combine these two monomials together because they're alike. And so I am going to subtract because my signs are different. Keep the sign of the bigger number. Gives me negative 17y squared. So I want you to pause the video and try number 3 and number 4. And then unpause the video and check your answers with me. All right, number 3 you should have subtracted. And so 15 take away 6 is 9, but it's going to be a negative 9 because 15 is bigger than 6. And you're going to keep your a cubed bc. So hopefully you got that answer correct. Number 34, that's an invisible 1 in front of that x squared y. And so 38 take away 1 is 37 x squared y. How did you do? Hopefully you did fantastic. If you take a look at number 5, I have a 2AB and a 9AC. So if you notice, these letters are not the same. The A is the same, but the combination of letters must both match. So I can't do anything here, so I would leave it just like it is, and I cannot combine it. So that would be my answer. All right, number 6. Again, we have that invisible 1. So I have a -10 and a -1. A squared, B squared match on both terms, so they are like terms. -10, take away 1. 2 negatives, you're going to add and keep their sign, so it becomes -11. A squared, B squared. All right, so hopefully you have the understanding of combining like terms, and like I said, that is a review. So I would like for you to pause the video and do 7 through 14. And then once the class is majority done with 7 through 14, then you will unpause the video and you will check your answers. Okay, so now here are the answers. If you would, check your work and see if you got those correct. So you can pause the video so you have time to check all those answers from 7 through 14. And if you notice, I color-coded numbers 11 through 14 for the like terms, and then I put them in order alphabetically. And of course, if you have a y squared, that needs to go before the y. We'll talk more about that later when we start into polynomials. All right, the next 4, they give you expressions in which you have to read them and determine what it's asking for. So number 15, keyword in here is sum. Sum means to add. So I'm going to add those two terms together. But I notice that their signs are different. So because their signs are different, I'm going to subtract. I know it's kind of confusing, isn't it? But 15 plus a -5 is an 11. Y squared. Number 16, the keyword is difference. So we're going to find the difference, which means we're going to subtract. So 10x squared y, take away 2x squared y is, that's right, 8x squared y. Number 17, the wording gets a little tricky, and it says that we need to subtract 9a from -15a. So we're going to say -15a, subtract 9a from it. So we have now -15a minus 9a. So they're both negative, so -15 and a -9 gives me a -24a. And then number 18, again, the wording is a little different here. It says from -9cd squared, we're going to subtract the -2cd squared. So it says from the 9, we're going to subtract the -2. So I'm going to subtract very carefully here. So if you notice, I put minus the -2cd squared. Can anybody remember what a minus and negative is? That's right, plus plus. So -9 plus 2 is -7 cd squared. You notice my variables and my exponents stay exactly as they started. So that is adding and subtracting monomials. All right, so I'm going to save that. Next worksheet you should be given, or you should have, if not given to you yet, you should have that now. So you can pause the video and make sure everybody has this multiplying monomials worksheet. All right, so to multiply monomials, and of course that previous worksheet that we just did, let me go back. Your remote assignment for this week on Wednesday, you'll have a worksheet where you'll have to add and subtract and also multiply. So today's lesson will help you do Wednesday's assignment, your practice assignment. Okay. Multiply what? And if we're multiplying monomials, these are going to be the one-term things, and we're going to be multiplying the coefficients. Coefficients are the big numbers that sit in front of the variable. So if I have 4x squared, that 4 is a coefficient. Okay. And of course, the x squared is the variable term, and the 2 would be the exponent. All right, so after you multiply the coefficients, you're going to use the product rule to simplify the exponents. And the product rule says if I have x to the a times x to the b, you notice the x's are the same, so they have to have the same variable. Then the rule is you're going to keep that variable. It's actually called a base. You're going to keep the base. The bases are the same, so you keep the base, and you're going to simply add the exponents. So the product rule is to add the exponents. Product rule, when you're multiplying monomials, is to add the exponents. All right. So let's take a look at some examples. Number 1, the bases are the same. They're both x's. So I'm going to write that x down, and I'm going to add the exponents. 2 plus 3 is 5. That's all you had to do. Easy peasy. Number 2, the bases are the same. So you write down that base, which is an a, and you add the exponents. And the exponents are a 9 and an invisible 1, because that has an exponent of a 1. If it's not there, it's understood. So 9 plus 1 is 10. Easy peasy. So now number 3, we're still multiplying, but this time I have coefficients, the big numbers in the front of each of those letters. So I'm going to multiply those coefficients. So this 3 and this 4 will get multiplied together, giving me a 12. Keep your base, which is the x, and now I'm going to add the exponents. So multiply the big numbers and add the little numbers. So 5 plus 2 is 7. Multiply the big numbers and add the little numbers. Multiply the big numbers and add the little numbers. Oops, I can't spell. Here we go. All right, so try number 4. Pause the video and try that row, 4, 5, and 6. Pause the video and try 4, 5, and 6 and see what you come up with. All right, so hopefully on number 4 you ended up with 15x to the 8th because you added the exponents, which are the little numbers, and you multiplied the big numbers. Number 5, you got 30x to the 6th. And number 6, they gave you 2 letters, A's and B's. You're just going to combine your A's. So 3 plus 2 gave you 5, and 1 plus 5 gives you 6. Remember, there was that invisible 1 right here. So you had to make sure you added that with your other B. So how did you do? Multiply the big numbers and add the little numbers. All right, pause the video and try the next row, and then you can check your answers with mine. All right, check your answers and see how well you did. All right, pause the video and check number 10, 11, do number 10, 11, and 12, and then unpause the video, check your work. All right, so hopefully you had enough time to finish those, and now you are going to check your 10, 11, and 12 with mine, because this is exactly what I would have done with you if I was there in person. I would have showed you a few, and then we would have tried some on our own, and I would have given you guys time to work them, and then I would have given you the answers to check yours. So I'm not doing anything differently. I'm just not there in person. I wish I was, but it's not happening right now. All right, now number 13, 14, and 15, you notice there's some fractions, and you should remember how to multiply fractions. If you don't have a calculator, you should, but if you don't have one, then I'll just do some little chicken side work here to multiply. You're going to stick your whole number over top of a 1. So when I'm multiplying my coefficients, this is a -6. So -6 over 1 times 1/2, and that gives me -6 over 2, which is -3. So this is -3. Add your A's and add your B's. Remember to add those exponents. Even if it doesn't have an exponent, it's understood to be a 1. All right, pause the video and you try 14 and 15. All right, so you have tried these problems and now you are checking your 14 and your 15. Make sure I didn't make any mistakes either. It looks like I did pretty good. So if your answers are wrong, you need to fix them. And if I need to, or if the sub needs to pause the video, just let them know so they can pause the video to make sure you're not getting behind. All right, 16, 17, and 18, and 19. We're going to put all this together, which means we're going to do some multiplying monomials and adding monomials. And so anytime you have some where you have some multiplication and some adding and subtracting, you always want to multiply first, just like please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So on number 16, I'm going to make sure that I multiply these two monomials together first, and then these two monomials together. And then if they match, then I can add like terms. So the first half of this problem, 2 times 4 is 8. Add the x's and add the y's. Okay, so make sure you add the exponents on each of those letters. Plus 3 times, there's no coefficient on that first term, so it's just a 3, because 3 times is divisible 1, if you want to imagine a 1 there. Add your x's, and then add your y's. Now, once you're done, what do you notice about both monomials? That's right, they match. They both have an x to the 6th and a y to the 5th. So because they match, I can add the coefficients up front. I'm not going to add the exponents because I'm not multiplying. So I'm simply only going to add the coefficients, which gives me 11. X to the 6th, y to the 5th. So be very careful when you're adding like terms. Do not add exponents when you're adding like terms. I can't stress that enough. I'll put that over here in red. Do not add exponents when combining like terms. Super duper important. That looks really bright red on my computer screen. So only add exponents when you're multiplying. All right, so I want you guys to try number 17. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and then unpause the video and see if you got it correct. So hopefully you got 20, no cheating, but pause that video. 20a to the 4th, b to the 6th, plus a negative 2a to the 4th, b to the 6th. Because remember, you're multiplying, so you are allowed to add your exponents. Now I'm ready to combine like terms, and they are alike because they both have an a to the 4th and a b to the 6th. So this gives me 18, a to the 4th, b to the 6th. Remember, do not add those exponents. You're going to be tempted to, and I know somebody in here is probably going to do it. Don't do it. When you're combining like terms, do not add exponents. All right, try number 18 and 19, and then once everyone's got those done, go ahead and unpause the video and check your answers. All right, hopefully you didn't cheat. You didn't unpause when you weren't finished. All right, so check your work there. Make sure you got those 2 questions correct. And all I did was multiply first where needed. And then I noticed that the variables and exponents matched, so I was able to combine like terms. And remember, when you're combining, don't add those exponents. All right, so hopefully you guys now know how to add, subtract, and now multiply your monomials. Okay, so if you have any questions, please send me an email or a message on Remind. Of course, my Remind is the same. If you're not on my Remind, shoot me an email with a working cell phone number that I can add so I can put you on my Remind. Tomorrow we will do powers of monomials. And so your assignment for today was monomials, adding, subtracting, and multiplying. And then tomorrow we'll do powers of monomials. And then your Wednesday, Thursday, Friday assignment, remember, is always found on Google Classroom. The next thing you have for me because hopefully, you guys didn't speed through this assignment and actually only spend 20 minutes on it, because of all that pausing in there and actually thinking and working out these problems. It's going to take you a little bit longer than 20 minutes to do it. I'm looking more like, 30, 35, 40 minutes. So the rest of the class time, you have a daily quiz that you're going to do. And on that daily quiz, remember, you can't use your notes. I want to see what you can remember from today's assignment. And there's going to be some old stuff on there too, like maybe a system of equations, or graphing a line using y equals mx plus b, or finding slope. So there's going to be some of that old stuff. So hopefully you haven't thrown away your note cards. You can continue to use those, and we're going to keep adding note cards. And so we probably had one for today, which you can find in your Google Classroom. If you haven't added Google Classroom yet, you need to, or you're not going to be able to get a hold of this daily quiz. I have reset all of my Google Classroom, so I kicked you guys out, but I did send you guys an invite, and I also sent you an email with the code. So you need to make sure that you get that code so that you're back in the classroom, and so that way you guys can take that daily quiz. And and I'll be able to put that as your first grade in there. So it is just going to be a quick check for today's lesson, and it's going to be some old stuff in there because that stuff never goes away. You guys will have your end of course exam at the end of May. And so everything that we did since August will also be on that exam, and all the new stuff that we're learning. Okay, I'll let you guys go for now. Make sure you do your daily quiz, and make sure that you are in my Google Classroom so you can find that daily quiz. And if you guys have any questions, please remember you can email me or send me a message and remind. And I miss you guys, and I will see you guys soon, and be good. Bye.